Welcome back, folks. Greg Silverman here for another session of Come Learn With Me. We do a couple of, call them publications, if you will, one of which is our Come Learn With Me, where we look at the articles that we've curated and shared with our network, pretty big network, and then we rate the top ones that have been shared, liked, read, etc. And that's interesting for us to see what all you all are consuming that we like, so we can put more of that out. But it's interesting as investors for us to see what's out there and what people like and don't like, and then we'll read the article together, and hopefully you'll pick up a few nuggets of information. That's Come Learn With Me. We also have CIOs and Bow Ties, where I do a one-on-one with my old colleague Dr. Crook, global economist, and we'll talk a bit more about the macro, as it were. And then we have the business end of the business, where we do various work as CFO, for example, for some cannabis companies, CFO for some mining companies. So we do that under our CPA practice. And then in addition, we have an investment process where we are leading investments, looking at investments, due diligencing investments, sourcing investments. If you want to know more about that, you should come check out our URL later in the day. At the end of this video. All right, this article, Sundial, I believe is a cannabis. Yeah. Sundial announced it will create a new public company through an initial public offering from its investment joint venture. Now, I do want to point out something to you folks before we get stuck into this article. Cannabis, and we're just going to use Sundial as a bit of a proxy. That might not actually work. Let's see what's that. That's Sundial. Okay, so since 2019, well, that's not very good chart, is it? What I want to do is just give you a sense of where we stand in the marijuana, in the cannabis bull market. And I'll use the, there's an ETF. We'll just use that as a proxy, right? Horizons, is that the one? Medical, Beta Pro, just looking for the oldest one in the book. Actually, we can look at Canopy. Are they still around? Canopy Growth. Okay, CGC. So one of the largest stocks. So let's just say a good proxy. And so let's enlarge that chart. Make it weekly. Okay, well, you can see trend has been low for some time. And there's a reason that I'm showing this. So stick with us. We're going to read the article now. All right, let's go. There we go. Okay, so this gives you a sense. I like charts to give me a sense for long range ideas. So back in 2018, that was kind of the top of the last wave, I would say. Let's see if I can even get it to be longer. You have to have a login to do that. All right, which I don't. So we've been in this pretty range bound pattern. Back in 2020, this was around COVID time, Corona, right? So we had this pretty big ramp up, which in the grand scheme of things wasn't massive, about $10 to, what's that, 55. So that's a five bagger. That's pretty high, and we've pretty much retraced that entirely. So question here is, is this a good entry point where we haven't seen a real turnaround yet? But again, if you're a contrarian like we are, you're liking what you're seeing. Maybe you want to wait for a bit of a turnaround, but prices have really been beaten down pretty hard in the cannabis sector, in the CBD sector as well. And so now might be a good time to start picking up some dislocated bargains. Having said that, it's also a very harder time to raise money in the space, which is why our investment program is pretty much we kind of let's just say we give ourselves a hard time, because we're always trying to raise money at the low end of the market to pick up the bargains, and then we typically will close our offerings so that we don't want investors who will come in somewhere around here or somewhere around here. That's difficult to do, but we want investors who have the same conviction we do. All right, so that's where we are, time and space. Let's go. What happened? Canadian cannabis company Sundial Growers restructured its business this year to run a cannabis cultivation production segment. Why did they restructure? Because of the dynamics of the industry. Production segment alongside an investment arm. It has subsequently increased its commitment to the investment business multiple times and made a new announcement related to its future today. The market reacted positively and Sundial stock popped 5.3% in early trading on Thursday. As of 12:48, the share. Oh, let's take a look. It's a Canadian stock, so I'm not sure if it's going to come up here. Not sure anything's working right now. SNDL. Let's see. Not sure. Can't guarantee. Yeah, there we go. Sundial growers. Okay. So something like that, you know, where your stock goes from, I can't see exactly, let's say $15 down to, wait, that's just a horrific fall, right? I mean, that's a crash by any books. So a high of 13.22 to a low of 13.8, right? Nearly 10 times lower. Although I know the math doesn't quite work that way. And here you get your restructuring. Oh, come on. Here's your restructuring. Around about here. That's okay. So interesting that they're able to restructure and put more money in here. I think it could, you know, work out satisfactorily because prices seem relatively low. A lot of ifs and buts there. Do your own due diligence. So what? In March 21, Sundial announced a strategic partnership to form Sunstream Bancorp as a joint venture. The venture was meant to create an investment arm that Sundial would use to grow alongside its cannabis operations business. Sundial has now announced it has filed for an IPO of Sunstream. Well, for 24 Investment Corp, I'm not sure. Okay. The company said the entity will be a specialty finance company and anticipates to be legally regulated as a business development company. Okay, that's interesting, right? BDC, yield, typically orientated with yield. Now what? Sundial initially announced it would commit 100 million Canadian dollars to Sunstream Bancorp joint venture that would allow it to continue to focus on its cannabis operations while also participating in new investments in the sector. The company subsequently increased the capital added to Sunstream twice for a total commitment of more than $400 million. That's buyer power in this current market. The latest announcement to create a new public company as a Sunstream affiliate is intended to broaden Sundial's interest in cannabis investments in the US. Details including number of shares and price range from the IPO haven't been announced, but Sundial said in a statement the purpose of the offering is to use the net proceeds therefrom to invest primarily in the debt of US cannabis companies across the cannabis industry. Investors are cheering the move to continue to see growth through investments in other cannabis businesses. Focusing on US businesses also brings more potential should the market open up if federal legalization materializes in the future. Right. I'm just curious about one thing. Let's just go. I know this is more than you bargained for. You know, come learn with me, but you know, this is why pot stocks Canada had a rough week. Let's just go to the website real quick. Let's just take a look at these guys do. Wait, okay, well, I'm not going to let you guys see that. Where do we live? Oh, that's a pity. Thought we'd be able to get to the investor stuff. All right, well, there you go. Sundial recapitalizing could be at the bottom of the market. One we're watching really closely for a turnaround. There's some nice assets out there. All right, enough said. Come check out our investments here. Greg Silverman, thanks for joining me. Another section of Come Learn With Me, subsection Cannabis, log 3555, out for now.